If you've been playing video games since the mid-80s, then you more than likely have heard of Rare. This UK-based developer has crafted some of the most memorable games throughout the 8 and 16-bit era. Battletoads and Snake Rattle and Roll come to mind for me. But it's when Rare became a second-party developer for Nintendo did we get some of their finest work. The Donkey Kong Country trilogy, Killer Instinct, Blast Corps, GoldenEye, Diddy Kong Racing, Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, Perfect Dark, Conker's Bad Fur Day, just to name a few. However, during their work on Dinosaur Planet, which then became Star Fox Adventures for GameCube, Nintendo, for whatever reason that I'm not aware of, decided not to fully purchase the company, and Rare was up for sale with the biggest bidder being, Microsoft, purchasing Rare for $375 million, making them a first-party developer. Now owned by Microsoft, Rare started work on games for the Big Green. However, only 2 games were ever released by them on original Xbox. One was a remake of Conker's Bad Fur Day, which we'll get to in our own time. But the other was a game that was originally in development for the GameCube before being brought over to the Big Green. 2003's Grabbed by the Ghoulies. I can't lie to you, I've avoided this game outright for years. Ever since I first saw it in trailers back then, to even trying out a demo, I didn't care for it. But it is the month of Halloween. It does fit that spooky motif, so it seems I can't avoid talking about it any longer. Let's go ahead and see if Rare's first big outing on the Big Green is as meh as the critics made it out to be. Also, fun fact if you didn't already know, Ghoulies is a pun for balls. So this really does kind of mean grabbed by the balls. Which does make sense since me and my friends used to call this game Grab by the Gonads back then. I'm getting off track. Let's just see how the game really is. The story of Ghoulies sees our hero Cooper and his girlfriend Amber looking for a place to stay dry from the storm when they stumble upon a mansion called Ghoulhaven Hall, seeing the owner Baron Von Ghoul as they pass by. When Cooper decides to be an ass to Von Ghoul, he retaliates like any villain would by kidnapping Amber. Cooper then chases them throughout the haunted abode in order to save his girlfriend and get out of Dodge, with some interesting events occurring along the way. There isn't much else to say about the story other than it's your typical Rareware fare. Say that 3 times fast. In which I mean the story is very light-hearted and goofy, with a dash of tongue-in-cheek innuendo that the company is always known for, as well as characters that range from decently funny to godly annoying. Essentially, you can tell that this was made by the creators of Donkey Kong Country and Banjo-Kazooie, as they let you know on the cover. The gameplay, on the other hand, well, that's something else. At first glance, you would think that Grabbed by the Ghoulies would be another platformer from Rare, but that's not the case. Instead, think of it more like a beat-em-up adventure, in which you guide Cooper through the rooms of Von Ghoul's mansion to meet your goal. When you enter a room, the doors are magically locked and combat begins, though you don't just defeat all the Ghoulies and move on. No, this game ups the ante a bit. Every time the doors are sealed, a challenge begins that you must complete in order to move to the next room, with the rules changing up each time. For example, you could enter a room and your goal is to survive for 2 minutes, or defeat all enemies with just your fists, or survive without breaking anything in the room, or defeating any enemies. Oh, and you could die in 1 hit. There's also time challenges where if you don't complete the challenge, or hell, even if you fail one, the Grim Reaper shows up and tries to kill you with his Death Touch, which is an instant kill. This is definitely one of the most annoying things in the game, but I'll get to why in just a bit. Also, when you enter some rooms, you'll come across jump scares that if you are caught within the blast of one, you'll get scared and take double damage. There's also super scares that take the form of QTEs that you have to pass in order to not have the same thing happen. For pickups, there's an assortment of improvisational weapons you can pick up and use, like shovels, plates, toilet paper even, each having a limited amount of uses before they break. There's also super soups, special items created by the mansion's chef that not only give you some health back, but some powerful limited buffs like invincibility, invisibility, unbreakable weapons, and one-hit knockouts, to name a few. Though there's also soups that have negative effects, like slowdown or reversing your controls, so watch out for those. Also in each room is a rare challenge book that when you pick up 5 of them unlocks a bonus challenge you can play, earning concept art as a reward. So far this doesn't sound that bad, but there's a lot beneath the surface of this innocent looking game that reveals how many problems it actually has. For starters, the controls. Your attack is mapped to the right analog stick, giving you 360-degree combat, which makes the camera control mapped to the L and R triggers. To me, this type of control scheme has never really worked that well before, and here it's just handled very clumsily, as landing blows on an enemy can be tough to connect, giving your foe a chance to pummel you senseless. Plus, when you have a ranged weapon, you have to hold the stick in the direction you want to fire, or flick it if you just want to use melee, and it just doesn't work here. It's hard to really explain it, but trust me, right stick combat is just a bad idea. Tying into the combat is the lock-on. When an enemy is near Cooper, he'll lock on automatically to them in order to fight. The problem is that there's no way to break out of it except to run away, which is a pain in the ass as Cooper's lock-on running speed is barely existent, allowing any enemy to catch up to you and kill you, including the Grim Reaper. Yeah, you can try to attack to push enemies back, but that can be tricky due to the next annoying feature this game offers. Every time you enter a room, Von Ghoul will randomly set your health to whatever number he wants, because he's a dick. And he also loves to keep your health very low. Sometimes you'll enter a room and only have 5 health to make it through a challenge, which also can get very cheap in some rooms where after you complete a tough challenge and you're still low on health, you'll slowly make it to the door, only for it to close again and have to endure yet another challenge. Needless to say, Grab by the Ghoulies can be cheap, especially when the Reaper gets involved. Though you can use him to kill your enemies, which, I admit, is nice. Overall, all these flaws add up to a game that, despite its neat premise, is just not that fun to play the more you try to get into it. So much so that it actually pains me to say that I got halfway through this game before I just threw in the towel because I just wasn't having fun with it anymore. No matter how much I tried to get through it, it just wasn't worth the try. Now, one thing I will give Ghoulies a high mark on is how good it looks. The visuals look as good as a Saturday morning cartoon with bright, colorful characters and delightfully spooky rooms that kind of reminded me of the Addams Family cartoon in the 90s. Even today, the graphics hold up in my opinion due to the more wacky animated look it goes for. Meanwhile, the music also gets a standing ovation from me. Then again, it was crafted by then rare composer Grant Kirkhope, who has quite the resume when it comes to game soundtracks. Here, Grant creates a soundtrack that goes for the Halloween specials you'd see on TV every year. Actually, some songs remind me a lot of that commercial for that creepy Crawlers toy that came out years ago. You remember that one? As for any voice acting, well, it is a rare game, and while they have had voice acting in their games before, they went with the Banjo-Kazooie route here, where everyone speaks in gibberish, and it's okay in doses, though it can get very annoying down the road. I can't lie to you, just like I felt years ago when it came out, I still feel the same today. I don't like Grab by the Ghoulies at all, though I really, really wanted to. I enjoyed the cute story and adored the look and sound, well, most of the sound, but the gameplay choices Rare made here are just too frustrating for me to recommend it to anybody. However, I am but one person with my own opinion, and if what you've seen here is something you'd actually want to play through, it's not too hard to find. It goes for around $15 these days, and is compatible with Xbox 360 and Xbox One. You can also just buy the amazing Rare Replay collection and play it there if you'd like. Sadly, I wasn't the only one who felt this way about Grab by the Ghoulies, as critics at the time gave it mixed reviews, pretty much stating the same problems, and with its low sales, all but crushed any hope of a new franchise. Maybe one day Microsoft could let Rare come back to this dead IP and give it life with a remake to fix the issues, but with them being busy with newer projects, it looks like the Ghoulies won't be resurrected anytime soon. So yeah, the first horror game for Viridian Flashback Halloween month 2020 wasn't really horrific or spooky. Okay, maybe it was horrific to play, but that's beside the point. The point is, there's got to be a horror game left on the big green we haven't covered yet, so tune in next time to see what we can find. And as always, this is the Dali Popka saying, stay green my friends, I'll see you next time. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode and want more of me and the Big Green, then click that subscribe button and the bell to get notified when new content arrives. I want to say a special thank you to my patrons for helping not just the channel grow, but me as a creator. You have my forever thanks. If you're interested in the channel and would like to help it grow further, consider becoming a patron today. For the cost of a soda or an item on the dollar menu, you can help myself and the channel provide the best source of Big Green programming and more. Once again, all the thanks and love.